In 1981, Alda wrote and directed a dramedy about three couples who spend each season vacationing together, and Netflix has adapted that film into a limited series that bears the same name, The Four Seasons. Will this one tug at the heartstrings and tickle the funny bone, or should you skip it like a secluded getaway with your in-laws? Three suburban couples vacation together each season, but tensions arise when one couple splits up and the husband brings a much younger woman on subsequent trips. The cast is fairly stacked with Steve Carell, Tina Fey, Colman Domingo, Will Forte, Kerri Kenney, Marco Calvani, and Erika Henningsen. Using Alan Alda's film as the backbone, it's easy to see how his excellence in both comedy and drama have their fingerprints all over the story. This sits squarely in the dramedy genre, at times creating fits of chuckles, and other times taking our breath away through shock. Now, it's going to be interesting to see how couples react to this series. In each of the pairings we see, there are some relatable, if not stereotypical, personas that work to make the cast endearing and the plot accessible. And don't hear me say that you have to be in a relationship to appreciate or enjoy this. I just think certain elements will have a sharper point if you are or have been in a coupling. Tina Fey and Will Forte have this comfortable but uneven power dynamic. It seems to have been established by them over the course of their long marriage. Fey is more decisive and firm, while Forte is more wishy-washy and kind of a pushover. Both aspects have their merits, and it's fun and even uncomfortable at times to watch these different personalities complement or clash. Now, the duo have good timing as well, playing off each other with the right amount of snark that's balanced by compassion and sometimes ire. Colman Domingo and Marco Calvani are the carefree couple. They're childless and seem to go as the wind takes them. They enjoy life and try to live it to the fullest, with Domingo being more of the adventurous one and Calvani being the pragmatic one. But he's also somebody who can both worry tremendously and be the life of the party. Kerri Kenney and Steve Carell are the couple who've been together the longest, and that familiarity is evident in the casualness of a lot of their interactions. Both come across as though they've kind of given up on life, which then magnifies any annoyances or irks they have with the other. And both are strong characters, and they each share in the comedy and the drama. Now, the 8 episodes, they're all around 30-ish minutes, with 2 of each covering a different season of the year. The series starts with spring and then ends in winter, allowing us to spend some time with the couples in all sorts of environments that lead to strained, stressful, or even hilarious interactions. And this is what the show does extremely well. It finds the right balance between melancholy and jocularity. Do you like that word? Well, I stole that one from MASH. I mean, it's the only time that I have ever heard it in a movie or a TV. Where was I? Okay. Anyway, the story beats, they're not afraid to take us into uncomfortable territory, both in dialogue and in actions. There are sections of the episodes that don't bring reprieve from the uneasiness, allowing us to stew in the emotions that the situations are creating. And none of these are so excruciating that watching becomes unbearable. I mean, this isn't on the level of Uncut Gems or The Curse, but scenes can become tense and maybe even somewhat upsetting. And then, after we've experienced some lows with the couples, we're then lifted out of the gloom and treated to witty conversations or heartwarming moments. Now, something that stories don't always accomplish well is having characters who can shift between sympathetic and disagreeable. Here, we get to see both sides of each of the personalities. And even though the characters do take on stereotypical personas, they definitely showcase the good and the bad, giving the characters just one more layer of relatability. There were times when I disliked each character. I mean, not at the same time, but over the course of the show. And at one time or another, each was selfish or unlikable in some way. And the same goes for being charming. Some hedged more towards one side or the other, like Domingo feeling a little selfish more often, or Fey being overbearing or bossy. And like with so many comedic actors who are looking to distance a particular character from their well-known funny ones, Steve Carell has donned a beard once more, and he plays more of the serious role, but one who also at times reeks of desperation. I mean, he's excellent to watch. He's giving us a mixture of his Dan in real life character mixed with his dad identity in Beautiful Boy. And he also works in some of the endearing and familiar smirks of Michael Scott, showing how the character is layered and complex even when he can come across as dynamically static. I found myself enthralled with each of the characters, and even when I wasn't grooving with one of them, I was still hooked within the story and their relational progress. While the season's settings aren't elaborate, each does provide unique circumstances for characters to reveal more of their inner workings and thoughts. Now, for instance, as the series opens, the couples are congregating at Carell and Kenney's home. I mean, it's in a more rural area, surrounded by a forest, and this then allows an intimate space in which to meet our players. One that's free of distractions that a larger or maybe more populated setting wouldn't accommodate. Then, as the series progresses, we're taken to locales that allow the cast to interact outside of the small group. But that's only after we've had a good amount of time with them. And this helps with the engagement too, because once we've got those connections, introducing others into the storytelling, it doesn't detract from the cast, but instead allows for more intricate story elements to come into play, all without losing the attachment to the mains. I think probably the least engaging moment within the show is in the fall episodes when we meet Faye and Forte's daughter. And her introduction feels a little more weighty than her screen time reflects, but then she's gone from the narrative as if she never expected. I mean, I get why she's included, but because we're already given a way more intriguing and deep rationale for where the characters are and why they're there, it would have been more concise and even less odd to have this random daughter show up for 2 minutes. I mean, it would be more than fine to just know that they had a daughter if she was only going to make a cursory appearance. Now, this was seriously an easy binge. The 8 episodes flew by, and I couldn't hit the next episode button fast enough to get me back into the story to see where it was going to go. And the beautiful thing is that because this is a limited series, the arcs have complete resolutions, giving us closure and finality in our time with the characters. I mean, we're not left dangling in story purgatory, waiting to see if issues are resolved or relationships are mended. The series wraps it all up in a satisfying manner, and then leaves us with the same mixed emotions the whole show contained. Some joy, along with sadness. And the pacing for this is also steady and moving, using the established idea that there are going to be large time jumps between the characters' outings, and then creating context clues within the dialogue so that it informs us of events that occurred when they aren't shown. And the acting is brilliant, with subtle and overt complexities employed to craft dynamic characters who can be both infuriating and lovable. I'm not sure how often I'm going to rewatch this, but it does have an endearing quality that makes me yearn just a bit to immediately watch it again. There's some sex and nudity, a lot of profanity, just a tiny bit of violence. I give the 4 seasons 4.5 out of 5 couches. And if you're familiar with my channel at all, you know how much I love American TV shows, right? Well, this one stands out as something excellent. Okay, what is a relationship-based movie or show that you enjoyed watching? I would love to hear about it in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, please give it a like. Also, don't forget to share and subscribe. I'm Chris. This is Movies and Munchies. Thanks for couching with me.